Hello, and welcome to this special International Women's Day podcast interview. I'll be your host, Alan Murphy. And this year's theme for International Women's Day is Give to Gain, which explores the power of uplifting others. And no one in our organization is probably more qualified to talk about this subject than my guest and colleague, Chimmy Ngoma. Chimmy, hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So for those who don't know Chimmy, as well as having a very busy job in Equiniti's sales enablement team, Chimmy also wears many hats outside of her job. From board membership to hosting podcasts and championing charity causes. Chimmy also has a multitude of speaking events coming up that will connect women with opportunities, elevate their voices, and drive positive change. Plus, she'll be a participant in the upcoming Commission of the Status of Women UK 2026, an event by the UN focused on the promotion of gender equality and the rights and empowerment of women. Chimmy has also been nominated for several prestigious awards this year, including Empower Role Model. Chimmy, did I get through everything there? Does that sound...
Just a few.
All very impressive. So it makes sense why we'd be chatting with you today. So I say let's get right into it. So Chimmy, with such an impressive array of commitments, everything that I was just mentioning earlier, what do you think fuels your passion for championing women in financial services?
I mean, we're great. No, but I think it all started at home. My mum is a huge advocate for gender equality. She works in women's rights globally. She always has done. So that was really a conversation. It was an environment that I grew up around. And I just think it's something that we should all be talking about. So actually, there's a really funny story. When I was around 7 years old, I, clearly inspired by my mum, I organised a sit-in with my class. We had
at 7?
Yeah, at 7. We organised a protest. We had posters. We sat in. We refused to work, all in the name of children's rights, which, I might have been proud of if it was for the 130 million girls that don't have access to education, or there are 27% of girls will be physically abused by the age of 15. There are many horrible, horrible things going on in the world. But no, this protest was because we didn't like the way that our teachers spoke to us. And it got so out of hand that my parents got called in. And they were told that I was entitled, that I was disruptive, that I was stubborn. And so when I went home, I obviously was expecting to get it in the neck. And my mom actually turned to me and she said, "Do you know what? I'm really proud of you." She was like, "You've actually exhibited traits that are going to help you create a space for yourself in this world." And that's really stayed with me. Although she did end that with, "Please stop giving Mrs. Cheers a hard time." So I did. I did stop the protest from them. But yeah, that's something that's really stuck with me because, again, I think all of those traits are something that as women we're told to manage down, especially in finance and in fintech and in many industries, to be honest. But we do need to exhibit them to make space for ourselves. I think you need to be entitled. You need to feel entitled to a space at the table. You need to be disruptive to get to that space on the table. Sometimes you being at the table is disruptive, and you need to be stubborn in your journey, to getting there. So I think let's talk about that. Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not getting everyone to help us get seats at the table? So yeah, it's just something that I'm excited to help with, and yeah.
Yeah, and that upbringing, it completely makes sense how that has, led to all your accomplishments thus far. The apple clearly does not fall from the tree within your family. I also know that you are a board member for Her Wealth Network, which is a powerful resource for women in financial services and fintech. Can you share one of the most impactful ways that the network has nurtured connection and empowerment, and how its initiatives truly reflect the give to gain philosophy?
Yeah, so Her Wealth Network is fantastic. I'm so proud to be a part of it. We have events all throughout the year. We have socials just for women to get together, and men as well as allies to get together and network. They have talks so that you feel really inspired when you leave. We do speed mentoring. It's a really great event that I would recommend people getting involved with if they have the chance. Just go and look on it on the website. But my favourite event, by far my favourite event of the year, is called Finding Your Voice. And it basically takes a cohort of women in every year. It used to be junior women who were sort of early on in their career, but now we have women from the most junior level up to the most senior level, but it's just all women that don't love public speaking, which, you know, I think applies to a lot of people. And they get put through this sort of boot camp in an afternoon. They come in, you know, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then at the end of the event, they have to stand up and deliver a speech to a room full of senior women across the financial industry. And it's just wild watching these women who came in nervous, hated public speaking, to just standing up, like being so brave. And it's honestly just the most inspiring event. And I think that it's coming up soon. I think it's in April. Again, I would highly recommend, if you're around and you have the opportunity and you're in the UK, to come over and get involved. You don't have to do the boot camp. You can just come and watch it. But, you know, I think that is really a sort of example of the whole give to gain as part of International Women's Day, because we have the event, and on both sides you're gaining something, whether you're attending the event and you leave really inspired, or you are taking part in the event. It was one of the first things that I did when I started with Her Wealth Network. I took part in it, and it was at a time where I think I'd sort of lost my sparkle a bit. I wasn't feeling my best self, and I went and did this, and I shocked myself by standing and talking about a really vulnerable topic, actually, and it just gave me this buzz, and it gave me this energy that I've been able to take through my whole career. So yeah, so many amazing things that they do, but that's definitely my favorite.
That's cool. Well, one, hearing, like, you know, kind of push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit, you know, by being able to talk about those sorts of subjects. And also what you were talking about with like kind of coaching people on public speaking, because I know, you know, worldwide, that's like the number one fear for a lot of people, actually, is the fear of public speaking. And so the fact that there's a really safe, encouraging educational environment set up to help women overcome that is fantastic. I think that's an excellent service within you know, fintech and any industry, quite frankly.
I agree.
I also know that you created the Talent Talks podcast as a space for women to exchange stories and wisdom. Is there a particular moment or experience that inspired you to launch it? And what surprised you the most since starting the show?
I don't know if there was a particular moment, but we were just at an event, and I was talking to, you know, a lady. I was talking to, you know, different women, and I just thought, we have this wealth of women. It's part of the reason why we're called Her Wealth Network. Obviously, we're in finance, but we also have, you know, wealth of women, of knowledge, of expertise. We've got over 1,000 women as part of the network. And I just thought there are so many stories there. And not everyone realizes that they have a story. They don't realize a narrative around their life. But I personally believe that everyone has a story. And a lot of the time, it's a really beautiful story, and it's a really inspiring story. And I just wanted to bring that out to inspire other women. You know, you can do this too. You can get out there. A lot of everything that I do is sort of kind of is around this idea of having access to things and access to knowledge. It's why I am the patron for the Free Books campaign, which is about getting books by authors of colour to people that might not have access to books. I am a trustee for Waves Music Therapy charity, which is about helping children have access, or vulnerable adults as well, having access to therapies where talking therapy doesn't work. Music therapy can help them give a voice, and that can be really expensive. So it's sort of helping them to have the access to that. So I think everything that I've really done is really about access. And we used to have webinars, which were fab, but they were in the middle of the day. And it also meant that the women speaking were often women who are, you know, well spoken and they can do a presentation and they can talk about a topic. And I was like, I just want to have women come on and give them a comfortable space to talk about their stories and talk about who they are. So that was sort of why I started it. I went to the founder and I said, I want to do this. And she was like, yes, great, do it. I think that's what you want from women, is just to go, yeah, I'm going to empower you to do this. And yeah, so that's sort of been it. I think I was surprised that I was able to do it at all. And I've managed to get over hating the sound, just about hating the sound of my own voice, which, you know,
as someone who's like been on camera and microphone way more than the average person has, I totally understand that.
Yeah. It's horrible at first when you're going through the editing and you're having to sit there for hours listening to the sound of your own voice, which sounds bizarre. But yeah, no, I'm just about over it.
Well, I also know that on your podcast, you did have an episode that offered practical advice on public speaking. If you could share like one memorable tip or technique that's been transformative for you or for your listeners or any of your guests, what do you think that would be?
I had Stephanie Sword-Williams on the podcast. I don't know if you'll have to beep this out or edit this out, but she wrote a book called Fuck Being Humble. It's an excellent read. She's an excellent speaker, really inspiring, and it's actually a really good episode. I would recommend going and listening to it. She gives loads of different ways of thinking about how to structure what you're saying, and one of my favorite things that she said is, no one knows what you're going to say. No one, you know, if you miss a word or you forget a bit, no one is going to know that. And that's always made me feel so much more comfortable when I'm on stage or I'm in a public speaking situation. I'm like, no, they don't. It's okay, Chim. They don't know what you're going to say. So that's always been something that stuck with me.
I feel like when public speaking, I absolutely agree. Whenever public speaking, unless you're doing like a play or something like that, there's no script that anyone else is aware of. It's just you, your words, your thoughts. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't go the way that you had it in your head, roll with it. It's cool. Just own the moment and be confident in yourself, and no one will be any the wiser. If anything, it might just improve it just a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know that Equiniti is preparing for its speed mentoring event on March 19th as part of the International Women's Day celebrations. Can you tell us about a mentor who has shaped your journey? I'm curious. You were talking about your mom earlier. Would she be the one, or would you think of someone else in mind who had provided mentorship for you in the past?
Yeah, I mean, mums are always great, aren't they? And my mum's really fabulous, and she is such a mum. Like, if you met her, you would never believe the amount of things that she has done and been through in her life, and the situations that she's found herself in. She's always in war zones. Like, it's just ridiculous. Wow. So she's a really cool person to have been able to grow up around. But I've never really strategically gone after mentors. It's sort of been people that I've been around and felt inspired by and just kind of kept close to. And when I need advice, I'll drop them a message and say, can you help me? And Kate Webber, who's the founder of Her Wealth Network, she's been fabulous. She got me on the board. I by far was the youngest person on the board, and I'm around women who are leaders. She's the Chief Solutions and Technology Officer for PRI. I mean, we're talking really high-level and powerful people, and it's just a fabulous opportunity for me to be there. And she's always had that belief in me. And, with the podcast, she empowered me to do that. She brought my name into rooms I wouldn't have had access to otherwise. And another person who I would be remiss to not mention as well is our well-loved Dan Kramer, who actually I've followed him around. I'm a cult follower, apparently. Followed him around for the last 2-3 roles that I've had, because in my when I was working for a company called Calistone, I founded our CSR program, which was about diversity and inclusion and mental awareness, and kind of starting to have those conversations in a space where we were not having those conversations. This was far before that was a popular thing to talk about. So and then Dan joined, and he immediately got involved. He's really passionate about gender equality. I think he's won awards for it, or definitely been acknowledged for it. And what he did was just really help me navigate the company and navigate, you know, exec leadership in growing and scaling that program and getting it on the website. And he was a massive sponsor of it. And it got to the point that I've won awards for, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without him mentoring me through that. So it's something that I'm really proud to have worked on, and I couldn't have done that without the mentorship of him, you know, Kate helping me, all the women around me that I've helped support. So yeah.
And that kind of takes us toward the end here. I've got one last question for you. So for those who are looking to make a meaningful difference and uplift women in their communities, or here at Equiniti and Notified, what opportunities or approaches would you recommend? Like, are there any approaches that you've seen really embody the spirit of give to gain?
I think just do it. You don't need anything to praise women. You don't need anything to uplift women. Tell them when they're doing well. Women can sometimes lack in confidence. They can be a bit cautious. So give them that push where they need it. Give them opportunities where they might not realize. I think there's a piece about what's not being displayed per se. Like it's not necessarily a capability gap, it's a conditions gap. And sometimes women need to have the proof, the permission, the title before they can really succeed. And there's that stat around men need to have 60% of the job description before they apply, whereas women need 100% of the job description before they apply. And it's just that sort of acknowledgement that women aren't going to put themselves out there or into a role or into a space unless they are, told to be there. And we all know sometimes you have to do the job before you get the job, but women aren't always going to do that. So I think sometimes you need to acknowledge those differences. I've seen women that have been written off that have absolutely transformed when they've been actually put up and given that chance to succeed. And yeah, it's just acknowledging the potential that bias often obscures. So look for opportunities for them, praise them, talk about them in rooms that they're not in. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what you were talking about with your mentors and people who've helped you throughout your career. That's what they were providing for you to create, help create those opportunities, and that's exactly what we can all do for each other here.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Chimmy, thank you so much. This is great chatting with you. I love getting to know everything about your past and everything you've been involved in. Super inspiring. I could see why you're the person we were interviewing for International Women's Day. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great chat.